Anita, I'd like to begin with you. As the man on TV says, but wait, there's more. And it comes from, of all places, Politico tonight. And here is the story. In early spring of this year, an Air National Guard crew made a routine trip from the U.S. to Kuwait to deliver supplies. What wasn't routine was where the crew stopped along the way. President Donald Trump's Turnberry Resort, about 50 miles outside Glasgow, Scotland. Since April, the House Oversight Committee has been investigating why the crew on the C-17 military transport plane made the unusual stay, both en route to the Middle East and on their way back to the luxury waterside resort. They've yet to receive any answers from the Pentagon. The inquiry is part of a broader, previously unreported probe into U.S. military expenditures at and around Trump property in Scotland. I'm going to ask the control room, Anita, while we have our conversation, to rerun that scroll of existing and proposed investigations. When I ask you what comes of the toll of all of this, just tonight's story added on the top of the pile.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we really haven't talked about. You're scrolling through all these other investigations. What we've continued to hear about Trump properties for the last 2 years is this thing called the Emoluments Clause, the Foreign Emoluments Clause, that the president should not be taking money from foreign governments. What we've barely heard about is the thing we're talking about tonight, which is the president of the United States is not supposed to get any other money, profits from the taxpayers besides his salary. So all these times that Mike Pence and his children and himself stay at these properties, Secret Service, the military, other agencies are right there along with them and putting money into Trump hotels. This is a whole nother line of inquiry that we haven't really seen much about, but these members of Congress want to start looking at.
Franco, there's further reporting tonight that these air crews were walking around this resort feeling ill at ease because they had the clothing they had, and they were certainly not dressed for the surroundings. Will anyone, Franco, in the White House be surprised by just tonight's latest story?
I mean, I certainly think that today's story regarding the airmen is going to, raise some eyebrows even in the White House. But as Anita is saying, this is not something that's new. It's not just the airmen. It's not just Mike Pence. Watchdog groups have been conducting FOIAs since the beginning of the administration, requesting thousands of documents that show receipts and documents of all these type of incidents. Secretary Ross has been at the Trump hotels more than 20 times. Pence has been more than 20 times. Several different cabinet members as well as family have been there raising questions, as Anita said, about the domestic emoluments charge clause. And this is something that is really going to continue, I think, to be more questions are going to come.
Rick Wilson, it's unabashed. It's happening seemingly in plain sight. And this is why our friend Chris Matthews, at least one night a week, refers to the Trump family as the Romanovs.
They are, Brian. And I'll tell you one thing. And look, it's been a minute since I was in the DOD, but I can tell you it's part of regulations in the DOD that air crews are not to stay overnight at civilian facilities unless it is mission essential. They're supposed to go from military to military facilities. And I'm pretty much sure that staying at a Trump golf resort is never mission essential for a U.S. Air Force or Navy crew that's heading over to the Middle East, to the active theater of combat in the Middle East. This is some other element of the Trump grift. It is some element of the Trump scam. These are people who have obviously managed to corrupt folks down the chain and sent the signal that, at the minimum, sent a signal that if you stay at Trump resorts, maybe he'll like you more. And I think it's an extraordinary moment where we're seeing it in real time that they're forcing these airmen to land their C-17s off military airfields somewhere close to a Trump resort in order to stay there. It is an unbelievable level of corruption.
And Rick, you do remind me that we have a network of air bases with names like Aviano, the air bases we have maintained along with the Brits and the French and the Germans for exactly this type of thing.
Indeed. And I think, I don't know the exact number right now. I think it's 5 in Britain that would handle the C-17 right off the top of my head. So somehow I'm thinking that landing at a Trump golf resort is not like landing at Herefordshire, for instance, or Bentwaters or wherever we've got still bases operating in the UK. It's very much a symbol of a corrupt and corrupting administration.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.